hell's everybody at? Shucks. You know, a lot of people ask me, Jason, what do you do when your friends and your family forget about you during your virtual happy hour? Well, the answer is always the same. To feel better, I cook competition-style ribs. First things first, I'm gonna go visit my buddy the butcher and pick up some ribs. Let's go get those ribs. All right, y'all, I'm back from my buddy the butcher. We got some good ribs. They're not Adam and Eve's ribs. These are good pork loin ribs. They're already pre-cut. We got a St. Louis kind of cut style going on. If you notice, got a nice geometric. I typically like to count the bones down to maybe 12, maybe 13 or so. We might have a little extra on there, that's okay. Now what you notice is we've got a whole membrane thing going on. Now these are fresh ribs. These ribs are delicious, and that membrane, that's okay. You can cook with it, you can eat with it. I personally don't like it. It's just a little bit chewy. So what I like to do, and what I've already done with this first rack here, is just remove it. So best thing to do to remove this membrane here, it's real simple. A lot of people like to use regular knife, paring knife, anything like that. Me, I know from lessons, I don't like to do that. I like to use a simple butter knife, right? Because nobody likes to eat competition style ribs with bloody fingers, and that just, it never goes over well, I'll be quite honest with you. So anyways, it's real simple. What I'm gonna do is just dig right here, just below. We're gonna get right in there and just pry that open like that. Start to get into that membrane, just get in there. Now it's less of a cutting and more of a pulling. So I'm just gonna try to ease it in between there. Get right nice and deep in that membrane. There we go, you see that lifting up? There we go. So you just put your thumb in there, and just like you're peeling an orange, you just kind of pull that back. Look at that. Oh, these ribs are gonna be so much tastier now that that membrane's pulled off. That membrane now, it's functional. You can eat it again. It's got a little bit of protein, a little bit of amino acids, but frankly, it ain't good to the taste for me. And these are competition ribs, and that means everything. So I'm gonna pull them back, get that membrane out of here, get real clean ribs, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna continue to do this. After that, we're gonna get these ribs all rubbed up, get a nice rub on them, get a dry rub first. I'm gonna talk to you about my process, talk to you about the 3-2-1 method. Oh, look at that, just pull that right off early, that membrane. We don't need that. My grandpa used to love to eat that. Hell, he'd pull it off and fucking chew on it all day long. Nasty bastard. Anyways, all right, so now that we got both ribs, got that membrane off, got good cuts, we're ready to rub these ribs down. All right, let's give these ribs a rub. So, a lot of people like to, prime their ribs with various things like, maybe certain types of oil, various oil. Out here where I'm from, lots of people use avocado oil. I don't mess around with that. When I make me some American competition style ribs, I turn right to French. yellow mustard. The very first thing I do with this, put that yellow mustard on there nice. It's a good binder. Look at that. Now, if you don't like yellow mustard, that's okay, because the flavor don't really come out in the ribs. Again, it's just a binder for all the other dry rub that we're gonna put on it. I'm gonna show you that. But I will tell you this, if you don't like French's yellow mustard, you're not American. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna rub that rib. Oh, that's fun. I like rubbing that rib. Look at that, rubbing that rib. That's gonna be a good eating. And my grandma used to say, this is living. And this is living right here, making competition style ribs right in your own home. Some yellow French's mustard. Can't be more American than that. All right, I'm gonna flip my ribs over. I'm gonna do the same thing. All right, so next, we got these things primed. What I'm gonna do now is a real simple combination, basically of salt, pepper, and garlic, all right? Now, I like succulent ribs, all right? I don't like too spicy, I don't like too sweet, I don't like too acidic. I just like a nice balance of a good succulent rib, and I'm gonna get us there today. We're gonna have real good succulent competition style ribs. But before we do that, we got this binding agent, we got that French's mustard on there. First thing we gotta do, we gotta get some salt. A little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic. It's gonna bring that moisture out. Basically, we got meat sweats. You're gonna notice this meat, once I put that salt, pepper, and garlic on there, we're gonna let it sit for a little bit. These meats are gonna start sweating. And they're gonna sweat, because what it's doing is drawing that moisture out, and as it's drawing that moisture out, those elements are actually getting into the meat. So you're gonna get that succulent, savory flavor. It's gonna be a good time, I'm gonna tell you that. What I'm gonna do is pull my gloves off right now. I'm gonna tell you about a little friend of mine, also a special guest on the show. We got Chef Paul. Now, Chef Paul, he's got a lot of things going on for him. To be honest, I think he looks like a douchebag, but frankly, I love you, Chef Paul. Much respect. He's got some meat magic going on. So this meat magic is a combination of everything that you want in a good rib rub. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on there. We got some salt, we got some pepper, we got some paprika, just a little bit of cayenne. Oh, it's all kind of good stuff right there. What it's gonna do is it's gonna give these ribs all that right flavor. It's gonna bring out all that moisture, but it's also gonna lend itself well to that competition look. Competition. And after all, we are cooking competition ribs. So let me get in there and get some, oh boy. Got excited, I guess. Chef Paul got excited. He's always a good guest on this show. That's Chef Paul right there. All right, so I've got a lot of other things up my sleeve. You know, like I said, a lot of people use different oils and stuff like that, but I don't do it with those oils. But one of the things I do have up my sleeve here, a certain magic trick that I like to pull out, is slap your mama. Now, slap your mama, it's a good Cajun seasoning. Now, it's very good to put on. Beautiful thing about this, got all the same things I was talking about, what's gonna make this succulent, what's gonna make this delicious. It's got that pepper, that salt, a little bit of the, garlic and all these things, and it's got a little bit of spice to it, right? If you want a little kick, I like some understated flavors, like some ground ginger. That'll give you a little spice. Let's see what else we got working with. And then another thing I like to use here is the tahini. Now, if you hadn't used tahini, maybe you sprinkle it on the outside of your beer or something, but it's got a lot of citrus. It's got a little bit of citric acid in there, a little lime, a little lemon. Man, you put that on these ribs, they're gonna be good to go. All right, so ribs are rubbed down. Let's get to cooking.
Look at that. Right, we're at a perfect 250. Again, we've been slow cooking these somewhere between 250, 275. So these ribs have been on about 2 hours now. I'm just gonna give them a quality check.
All right. We got some good competition ribs going. Phase one's done. We got that dry rub rubbed all the right places, all the right juices. Look at that juicy. Just pulling back just a little bit, just pulling back off there. I love it, I love it. They're not quite falling off the bone yet, and that's exactly what we want. We want these competition ribs all nice and juicy. I love that. I'm gonna put this one right here. And what I do is I got double foil down. I'm gonna talk to you about it. I got some double foil down right here. Now it's time to break out that basin brush. And the best part of the sequence, specialist guest, Mr. Stubbs. Now, I'm gonna shake up Mr. Stubbs just a little bit. He's been a little tired. I'm gonna wake him up. Oh boy, we're gonna base these ribs. We're gonna do the front and the back. I'm gonna put them in the oil like that. I mean the foil like that.
Foil.
Oh, that's gonna be real nice. Just a good glazing, good basting. Now, if you need a good basting brush, I recommend bastingbrushes.com. They got all the good basting brushes. Look at that. Now, we're gonna give it several glazes, but this is just the first pass. You know, a lot of people don't baste the back of them. I like to baste the back of them. Again, everything's gonna go in your mouth, so, you know, why not? A little bit of basting right there. Oh, this is gonna be some good competition style ribs. Now, the nice thing about Stubbs, he's gonna bring out the color in these ribs. Now, the ribs, they speak for themselves, they really do. However, if you want that competition look, that's what you're looking for. All right, I'm gonna do this other one here. Oh, that's a good rib right there. Oh, it smells so dang good. Best smelling ribs. I'm gonna have to talk to my buddy the butcher. He's got the best smelling ribs. He brings them out. I don't know how and where he gets them, but he won't reveal his source. No, I don't blame him. This is some damn good ribs. All I know is that. All right, now we're gonna base these. This is a preliminary base. You know, we're gonna base these barbecue ribs just like that. Oh, pulling the foil off. That's okay. Now what we're gonna do is pull that back in. Now what I like to do is a double foil. You probably noticed that. I got a double foil going on, and that's just fine. What I do with the double foil is have plenty of room for the ribs, right? So what I do is a good wrap. Oh, that's a good wrap right there. And I just do that over. Now, it's real simple. I like to do that. And why I do this method and keep it real simple like that, because I'm gonna check in on these ribs. I'm gonna check in on them. And I'm gonna see how they're doing. And basically this whole process, part 2 of the process, so you got these ribs, they're cooked. They're not fully cooked, but they're hot. They've got a good temperature to them. They're starting to pull off the bone. They got all that good dry rub going on. Now we put them in this foil. They're gonna start sweating out all these juices. These are gonna be some of the juiciest ribs I've tasted in a long time. And well, I hope you like the style. And well, yeah, this is part 2 of the equation. 1, 2, 3. Now the third part I'm gonna tell you about a little bit later. But I'm gonna go ahead and put these back on the grill, just the boiled ass ribs, and we're gonna do it right now. Goddamn cicadas. All right, let's go pull these ribs off the grill. All right, so we got our ribs off the grill. They finally completed part 2 of the 3-2-1 sequence. Now, these ribs have been just roasting in some delicious foil. I've been basting, oh, look at that steam just rolling off. These ribs are gonna be freaking delicious. I'm gonna tell you that much right now. I'm gonna pull that one out. I'll give this a little breathing room too. And now we're entering part 3. Ooh, look at that. Oh, these ribs are so moist. They're gonna be falling off the bone pretty soon. Now we got this final glaze on these competition ribs. This is gonna give them that look, give them that final taste. These are gonna be delicious ribs. I'm telling you right now, they're obviously already falling right off the bone. I'm gonna put them right back on that barbecue. Let them steam up a little bit. Let that glaze cover a weird top competition.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. message.